Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought it'd be really fun to create a Nightmare Before Christmas scene. This was actually inspired by an item that I found at Walgreens. It was Nightmare Before Christmas related, and I thought it'd be really fun to just kind of recreate that item using a lot of Dollar Tree products. I want to say 95% of the items used are Dollar Tree products, with the exception of the main item, which is Michael's, but I did go ahead and get that at a discount. So definitely keep that in mind that not only do I shop at Dollar Tree, I shop at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Joann's, but I always use their discounts and coupons and whatever vouchers that I have available. So you can always cut corners when you need to when you're crafting. But I hope you enjoy the craft, and let's go ahead and get into it. I'm starting out with a medium-sized pumpkin that I got from Michael's. This was originally $19.99, but of course Michael's has their 50% off sale for fall, so this is a great time to scoop it up. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tag, and I'm going to go ahead and lightly pen the mouth of the pumpkin that I want to carve out. And I just kind of handed this. I just looked at the picture and just drew it out. But you can create whatever mouth you want, but I am trying to be inspired by the original of what inspired this project. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm just mimicking the same mouth. So here I'm going to be using the same hot tool that I used to carve the pumpkin in my pumpkin fairy gnome village. So I will go ahead and put a card up here so you can go check that out. This tool, if you're going to use it, it is a great tool. It cuts really nicely. The one thing I will say that it does get very hot. It does heat up. As you can see, it is smoking a little bit there, just because of the reaction between the heat and, of course, the material of the pumpkin itself. So do keep that in mind. Work in a well-ventilated area and be very careful, because I did have some instances where the tool did slip, and luckily I didn't have my hand there. So just keep that in mind when you're working with any sort of blades, any sort of craft tools, X-Acto knives, things of that nature. Just always use caution and, of course, common sense. But yeah, anyways, the tool cut very nicely, and I'm just cutting all the way around, and you'll be able to see that it just pops right out as soon as I go all the way around and make sure it's all cut through. So as you can see, it just pops right out, and now we have a really nicely cut open pumpkin. And then I just go back in with the tool and just clean up any sort of raw edges that maybe didn't cut very nicely. It's very easy to just go back in with this tool and just cut it. It's cuts like butter. I love it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be painting the inside of the pumpkin, and I'm just going to be using plain acrylic black paint. So here we go. I went ahead and painted that off camera. And at Dollar Tree, they sell these giant eyes. It comes in a pack, and a pack of 2, and I took one apart here and just took off the backing of the eye using the cardboard itself. I found from Dollar Tree the cobblestone corners. This is part of their Christmas Village collection, so you are able to find this right now in store. And I'm using this to create the ground for the cemetery. So I just thought it was the perfect kind of pavement that I was looking for, and it just happens to be Christmas. But there's nothing really Christmas about it other than it just being a part of the Christmas Village collection at Dollar Tree. So as you can see, I'm just gluing that down with some hot glue and using up all the pieces to make sure that I have a complete circle. And then once I have that glued down, I do go ahead and trim off the excess so that I have a complete circle. And then I hot glue that whole piece down into the inside of the pumpkin. Now, actually, before I hot glue it down into the inside of the pumpkin, I did decide to use a little bit of a black washing of paint over the top of the pavement. I just wanted it to be dirtied, kind of aged. So I just kind of lightly go over and darken the pavement itself with the black paint. So this is completely optional. If you like it the way it looks as is, you can, but I like it to be a little bit more spookier and darker. Now to start decorating the inside of the pumpkin, I found at Hobby Lobby in their little my little Christmas tree section for decorating miniature trees, this pack of presents. And believe it or not, it was in the right color scheme of the black and white for Jack. That was absolute perfection. They did have some Christmas prints in the package itself, but I just chose the striped presents. And basically I'm just gonna glue that down. I am also using a piece of netting that came off of a lantern that I also purchased from Dollar Tree, and I'm a crafter who likes to repurpose things. I never throw anything out, so I decided to incorporate that into the project, and you'll be able to see that I just glue that right here, right on top of that present. And then basically I just create a whole little scene. So you can create this however you want. Obviously this is not a duplication of the actual inspiration for this project. So I'm kind of just going with it and adding elements as I see fit here and there that remind me of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now I wanted to create a little tree to put into the pumpkin itself. So I'm using this bunch of Halloween roses from Dollar Tree. And if you can see these little branches here, they make the perfect tree. So I just rip those off. And then basically I just took a bunch of them and laid them down on a sheet of wax paper and hot glued the base of it together. So as you can see here, I'm just taking my sheet of paper that is wax paper, and then I'm just kind of arranging my tree how I want it to look. And then I'm just gonna pour a bunch of hot glue on the base so that it stays together. And then while the base of my tree is drying, I'm just gonna keep adding presents and creating a little scene on the inside. From Dollar Tree's Halloween section, they had this bag of foam bones that have glitter on it. They were the perfect size. I love them. And I'm also using these Halloween bows and taking off the skulls off the bows themselves. So the bones are going to be representative of Zero, because he is a spirit dog and he loves his bones. So I decided to go crazy with the bones and add bones in every which direction, kind of like a pile of presents for Zero. So you're going to be able to see here that I'm just going to start gluing them in every sort of orientation and just have a lot of fun with it. I am also adding in some fabric pumpkins, also from Dollar Tree, and these were perfect. They were striped, so I'm using some of the orange and the, of course, the black and white. To add in the tree that we made, I'm just going to trim off any remaining hot glue, and then I'm going to pour a glob of hot glue in the area that I want to put my tree in, and essentially just stick the tree in and hold it in place for a few seconds until it's stabilized, because it is a little bit flimsy just because there's not a lot of weight to it. So yeah, just hold it in place as it dries a little bit and you're good to go. Now I found these Nightmare Before Christmas buttons at Walmart, but you can find them at Joann's. I've seen them there as well. But aren't they cute? It comes with Zero, Jack and Sally, and then a couple of Jack's expressions, facial expressions, which is really cool. And these are buttons, but I am using them as, of course, characters for my little scene. So I'm gluing Zero right on top of the pumpkin that I added originally. And he's just perfect hanging out with all of his bones, and he's just having a good old time. Now, the orange of the pumpkin wasn't doing it for me, so I decided to paint it black, and I absolutely love how it turns out. It matches perfectly with this whole scene. With the second giant eye from Dollar Tree, I am going to cover that in gold spray paint, which is what I had on hand. Since this is plastic, it's really hard to paint over plastic with acrylic paint, so I decided to just spray paint it with gold, with any spray paint that I had on hand, just to kind of give it a good base. And make it a little bit easier to apply acrylic paint. I did still need to go in with several coats of acrylic paint, I think 3 or 4, to get the opacity that I was looking for. So as you can see here, I just ripped apart the plastic, or cut around it so that it was a moon shape. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use some yellow paint that I had, bright yellow paint that I had on hand. And again, it did take several coats, I think 3 to 4, to get full opacity for the moon that I wanted for this project. Now, because I don't like to waste, remember that piece of pumpkin that we cut originally? So I basically just trim that into a couple pieces, and I'm going to use that and glue that to the back side of the moon so that the moon is more of gives it a more of a 3D effect. So as you can see, I'm just going to glue that to the back side of my moon. And then I'm just going to insert that into the pumpkin. So I used a mixture of hot glue as well as E6000 just to make sure that it adhered appropriately to the pumpkin on the inside. Now, Dollar Tree is rolling out their Christmas trees for the holiday season, but this is a Halloween tree. It doesn't matter what type of tree that you use, but I had this on hand and I thought it would be perfect because you can bend it into place to create the hill. So I just painted that all black, and you can spray paint it all black. I used acrylic paint because that's what I had. I didn't have black spray paint. But either way, it works. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap that hill with some fairy lights, also from Dollar Tree. So I'm just trying to tuck it in as best I can in between the little areas that are sticking up so that the wire doesn't show as much. Once I add the lights, I'm just going to hot glue that down into the base of the pumpkin. I went ahead and added some fencing, and this is actually, again, from the Christmas collection, Cobblestone Corners from Dollar Tree. It comes with 7 pieces, and they have these little bits of snow on it that you could just pluck off if you wanted, but I just thought with Nightmare Before Christmas, keeping the snow on would be really cute. Glue in Jack and Sally onto the hilltop. Now, just to give the pumpkin a little bit more of a glossy finish, I did go ahead and put some gloss varnish over top, and I prefer the slick look versus the matte look, but really up to you preference-wise how you want your pumpkin to end up looking. Also from Dollar Tree, I'm taking this candy bowl basket and turning it upside down and basically just gluing the pumpkin to the base of it. And I just used some E6000 for that. And as you can see, it is a very pliable plastic, so I was able to just kind of shimmy the battery pack from the lights of the hill right into onto the underside of the basket. So here I'm applying the E6000 and just let this cure for at least 24 hours just to make sure it holds. And then I also put on some hot glue as well, just so that it could hold with extra security. And here is what the finished project looks like. I really love it. I think it really embodies Jack and Sally in that moment on the hilltop. And again, this is not a direct duplication of the inspiration that inspired this project. I did want to add my own special touches. So definitely used a lot of Dollar Tree products, used things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of using. So definitely think outside of the box when you are creating projects like this. It doesn't always have to break the bank, and just use all the pieces that you possibly can, repurpose them, and you'll be surprised the outcome of your project. So I hope you love this. I hope you give it a try, especially for all you NBC lovers. I definitely am a lover of Nightmare Before Christmas, and I will also link my videos to the clock that I made and a couple other DIYs that I made regarding Nightmare Before Christmas. So until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps me out. And until next time, bye for now.